All right, shalom, 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 shalom. I want to start off by giving all the praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rechakodash, double honors unto my elders and apostles, a great millstone, which are the men that rule and taught us his truth. Peace, blessings, and salutations be to the elect as always, all right? So, lock in. I got a quick exhortation. I got quite a bit in Sirach, the 6th chapter, but basically I just wanted to, make an exhortation, man, going in on the fact that, us brothers, man, that's in the know, us brothers that's growing in the spirit, man, for the new brothers and the brothers that's been in it, for some years, we can never forget, the trial of wisdom, the wisdom trying us, and I'm going to start off first, though, in First Peter's, the 4th chapter, the 12th verse, and I'm going to just go straight into Sirach, the 6th chapter, because there's quite a bit that I'm going to read. But just speak on it real quick through the spirit, man. This is just an exhortation, man. Nothing extra, just exhortation, an encouragement. That's what an exhortation is, for those who don't know. All right, an encouragement to remember that, this wisdom is going to try us every which way. You're going to be faced with trials that you've never been through before, and everything is for our betterment. The scriptures say in Romans, the 8th chapter, that we know that all things work together for good to them that love Yahweh, Bashem, Yahweh Shai, to them who are called according to his purpose. That's in Romans, the 8th chapter. Okay? So this is 1 Peter 4:12. Beloved, think it not strange concerning the fiery trial which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. Right? So don't think that, the things that you're going through is strange, or it's odd, or it's like, why, you go sit there and question, why is this happening to me? Which is nothing wrong with, questioning and, unrighteousness, being like, well, why is this happening to me? Not why, but having the mentality of, okay, why is this happening to me? Let me examine myself. Okay? I mean, shoot, the scriptures say, examine thyself, to see if you're in the faith. All right? And I'm paraphrasing, of course. So, you have to remember, though, that the Heavenly Father has appointed us to go through these things. The Heavenly Father has already written out our story. Okay? And since the Heavenly Father has written out our story, we're playing it out on earth. All right? And, sometimes we're faced with things that come so out of left field. Yo, what is going on? Sometimes, these demons, the way they attack you is just so out of pocket, random, man. Sometimes it's just Satan, attacking you in your flesh, attacking you in your mind, and you just be like, yo, where is this coming from? But we have to remember that all these things, all right, are for our betterment. All these things is to prove us. All these things is to make us better men of the Lord. All right. So this is 1 Peter 4:12 again in the NLT. Dear friends, don't be surprised at the fiery trials you are going through, as if something strange were happening to you. Right. And I suggest you read this on your own time, read the rest of the chapter, because we have to basically, it goes into arming ourselves, with the same mindset that Yahweh Shai had, which Yahweh Shai knew he was going to come on the scene, do the ministry, and he knew that he had to get up on that cross. He had the mindset that he knew he had to get it done, even though he didn't want to. All right, and we have to have the same mentality, because we too are going to be tried. We're going to be tried to the point, you're going to almost hit your breaking point. The Heavenly Father is going to put you through it. Okay? So this is Sirach, the 6th chapter. All right, because at the end of the day, I recommend you read Romans, the 5th chapter, but hey, ain't no freebies, man. Even though we are getting the wisdom, obviously, for free, we're not paying for it. But at the same time, you're also not going to actually just obtain it easily. It's something that you have to be tried before wisdom can trust you. Okay? Because what wisdom is likened unto a woman. A good woman ain't about to just give you the goodies, until she trusts you, until she knows she could trust you, all right, with her, with her, with the privacy, what I'm saying? With the, with the goods, I'll say. I don't want to be too vulgar, but it's very true for my brothers, man. When you meet a good woman, she ain't about to, a woman that's actually a good woman ain't about to just let you hit over nothing, because you bought a bottle of Don Julio, now you crack it in the back of your car. Nah, a good woman ain't gonna let you do that, right? And wisdom is likened unto a woman, and she's not about to just give you everything, let you see everything, all right, without, trying you. Okay, so this is Sirach chapter 6 and 18. My son, gather instruction from thy youth up, so shalt thou find wisdom till thine old age. Right? Because, like I was saying, though, wisdom is going to try you, meaning you're going to have to go through things, to grow and to obtain it, to be able to put it to use as well. Once you start to obtain it, it's going to go into it. It says, come unto her as one that ploweth and soweth, and wait for her good fruits. For thou shalt not toil much in laboring about her, but thou shalt eat of her fruits right soon, right? Because really you start to, with just a little bit of wisdom, you're already benefiting off of it. The little bit of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding that the Heavenly Father has allowed us to obtain, we already put it to good use immediately. Whether it's teaching or in your daily life, So it says, come unto her as one that ploweth and soweth, and wait for her good fruits. For thou shalt not toil much in laboring about her, but thou shalt eat of her fruits right soon. She is very unpleasant to the unlearned. He that is without understanding will not remain with her. She will lie upon him as a mighty stone of trial, and and he will cast her from him ere it be long. Right? That's for those that, essentially the word chokes them out, where they're like, yo, why am I going through this? I don't want to do this no more. That's them people, because us that know, Lord's will we continue. We know that we have to go through things. We know that, you're going to have to get tested. You're going to have to get proved for this wisdom to be with you. You ain't going to just get all the knowledge and then now you just, I got it all and that's it. And you just going to cruise into the kingdom. No, this is something where sometimes you be afraid to lose it. You go through things and now certain trials are trying to take you out, but you pray, you fast, you use your prudence, you use your wisdom. And now you've made it through another day. You made it through another week. You made it through another year. Right? So it says, she will lie upon him as a mighty stone of trial, and will cast her from him ere it be long. For wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. Right? Wisdom is not revealed unto many. When you look at the number of people that are in the camps that have the 100% truth compared to the number of people that are in the world, it's not a lot of people that have this thing. And not a lot of people have this thing because when Ezra was given certain revelations, what did the angel instruct him? He said, give this to those that to keep the wisdom, to keep the words of the Lord. Right? He didn't say go and give it to every single Israelite. Not even every single Israelite is going to obtain this wisdom. Because we're on a whole nother level than the average Israelite, us that's in the know, that's in the truth. Right? It says, put thy feet into her fetters and thy neck into her chain. Oh no, Salakia, I think I skipped a verse. Yeah, I did, Salakia. I read 22 again, Sirach 6 and 22. For wisdom is according to her name, and she is not manifest unto many. Right, so the fact that she's revealed unto us is a blessing. Okay? Give ear, my son, receive my advice, and refuse not my counsel. And put thy feet into her fetters, and thy neck into her chain. Bow down thy shoulder and bear her, and be not grieved with her bonds. Right? Because wisdom is at first, wisdom, when you first come into this thing, it feels like this huge burden that's upon you. Because you're going through trials and tribulations, but you're still laboring and you're still saying, nah, I'm still going to study. I still got to do this. I got to do that. I got to do this for the Lord. I'm still serving Yahweh Shem El Shai. I'm doing the work even though I'm going through hell right now. Satan's attacking my flesh. Just lost a job, got a new one that I don't like. And, all these different trials, that feel like just a burden, right? But what happens later? It says, come unto her with thy whole heart and keep her ways with all thy power, right? Because at first it's hard to move with wisdom, At first you are over righteous when you first come in this thing. You don't understand balance yet, You're always studying. You think you always have to study, and you think that one day you don't study, the Lord's going to kill you. Like, no. You learn how to balance it out. At first it's more of a burden, all right, than anything, right? But then what? It says, search and seek, and she shall be made known unto thee. And when thou hast got hold of her, let her not go. For at the last thou shalt find her rest, and that shall be turned to thy joy. Because wisdom is what? Wisdom is going to become your defense. right? For at the last I shall find her rest, and that shall be turned to thy joy. Then shall her fetters be a strong defense for thee, and her chains a robe of glory, right? Because at the very end, what's going to manifest is the kingdom of heaven, and you'll have that physically. But spiritually speaking, right, at the last, this wisdom is going to become your rest. At first, it's like your grief. It's like, damn, I'm going through all these things, and I don't even know why I'm going. And then you realize, hold up, now that you learn how to move with wisdom, all right, it's become a defense to you. Now it's no longer just grief. Now it's no longer just holding you in bondage. Now it's become your weapon of choice. For real, when you come into this thing, you start to realize, man, it really is brain over bronze. It's mind over matter. It's your strongest weapon is your wisdom, the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Because the wisdom, you don't get the wisdom because you read these precepts. You get the wisdom because you read it and applied it to your life, and you learn how to apply it. That's what makes you stronger. That's what makes you, a wise person. Because when you have wisdom, you can now judge. All right. And when you can judge a matter and judge and assess a situation, that's power. You see, that's what made King Solomon, a very important man to study. All right. He had that ability to judge and use that wisdom to rule the people. All right. That's why there was the 40 years of peace. Okay. With King Solomon. Okay. So that's why there was that time frame of peace with King Solomon. It was nothing but prospering because King Solomon had the wisdom, which we know is who? Yahweh Shai. All right. So it says, then shall her fetters be a strong defense for thee, and her chains a robe of glory. For there is a golden ornament upon her, and her bands are purple lace. Right. So this wisdom becomes then, the fetters become a strong defense. What was once more a burden now is your strongest weapon. Because you've grown. Now you know how to balance out your life. You know how to balance your mind out. Now you're no longer just running like a chicken with your head cut off because Satan is attacking you. None of that. Now you, that's Satan. There goes another trial. Oh, I know how to handle this one. You see what I'm saying? That's what wisdom does. It puts you in a better situation mentally to be able to handle certain situations. Right? It says, for there is a golden ornament upon her, and her bands are purple lace. Thou shalt put her on as a robe of honor, and shalt put her about thee as a crown of joy. Right? So this wisdom, that's eventually is going to become that to us in the kingdom of heaven, where we have the perfect wisdom, knowledge, and understanding within us, because we'll have the laws written in us, right? But even now, man, we already, it's becoming a crown of joy for us brothers that's growing. Brothers, you might be 6 months in. At first it's hard, but then once you get a little settled into the truth, you get a little comfortable. Once you stop being, overly spiritual, and you've been behaving like a monk for the first year, then you start to realize, like, oh shit, I can do things. Then this wisdom is like, when then you go through trials and tribulations, and this wisdom becomes something that you learn how to maneuver now. Like with the word, at first you know the precepts, but you don't know how to apply them yet. But once you learn it, that's when you're really learning how to wield the sword, the sword of the spirit, and this is the best ever gift that Yahweh Shai could have ever given us, which is wisdom. So keep in mind, man, to continue on in this faith. Don't forget, because really this is a rinse and repeat thing with the whole, wisdom being a mighty stone of trial and being fetters. That's not something that, now that, you're 5 years in, now all of a sudden, no more issues. You figured it out. No, this is rinse and repeat now, because now that you're growing, now different levels of wisdom are going to be required, or you're going to have a repeat of a trial, but it's harder this time. So now you got to repeat the spiritual steps. And you know what I'm saying? These are the things that we have to go through, so that's really what I want to, really wanted to say, man, to remember that this is something that we're going to have to go through over and over again until the kingdom is established, till Yahweh Shai's kingdom is established. You see, we're going to have to go through this, man, over and over again. And it's a good thing, because every single time you grow, you're cleansed, and you're made a better man of the Lord, better servant of Yahweh Shai. All right. So don't think your trials are strange. We have to remember wisdom is trying us. All right. In every which way. And the trials never end, man. You're always in a trial. All right. But what? You gaining experience. That's what experience is, out of a trial. All right. So that's just my exhortation for today. I really hope that you were exhorted and edified. I want to give all the praises going on to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rechak double honors unto my elders and apostles of Great Millstone, which are the men that rule well and taught us his truth. Peace, blessings, and salutations to the elect as always, man. Shalom.